Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to today's stream. Where today, I want to know: are you a perfectionist? Do you deal with perfectionism? Because God knows I do, and I have learned some things that have really helped me with my own perfectionism, and I want to share what I've learned with you while playing some Sid Meier's Civilization 6, which is a really good game, and I'm trying something new yet again because I'm looking for games that are easy for me to talk, but also play the game. And this game has turns, so hopefully I can get things done, because when I'm talking, I can let the situation be paused and then resume it when I'm done talking. So if you've never seen a strategy game before, this is a great one, and I'm excited to share it with you guys while talking about perfectionism. So let's jump right into that. Well, welcome back to thoutraid, a community about friends, gaming, and better ways of thinking. I'm Brandon, and today I'm going to be talking about what I've learned about dealing with perfectionism in my own life, share that with you guys, and you can do with it what you will. And I've got some stuff to kind of keep me on track, but this is like a really important topic to me, and I'll be doing this all while playing Civilization, which, again, if you've never played or seen any sort of strategy games, this is a really good one, a lot of fun. And who knows, maybe I will play chess at some stream, but not right now. That'd be a very interesting stream. Chess with thoutraid. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll do that. Oh, hey. Hi. But yeah, no. Today, if you are perfectionistic like I am, this stream is for you, because I am wanting to share what I've learned when it comes to dealing with perfectionism. And this is just something that's just, I don't know, it's been on my heart. I know. It's something that's been on my heart as of recently, and so this is not necessarily anything that anyone suggested to me. This is just something that, I don't know, has been really on my mind, and I figured let's talk about it, because perfectionism can really screw you up. It certainly has me, and it has left me in anxiety more times than once, or 3 times, or maybe even 50 times or more. So this is important, and I'm going to be sharing that with you while also playing some good old Civilization. It's good but good. Now, I heard was strategy game, and that's the first thing I popped into my head was chess. I see. Okay. But yeah, no, this maybe shares some some elements with chess, but not a lot. It's very different. Hello, Ryan. Oh my goodness, where have you been? Where have you been in my life, and why is it not constant? Like, where have you been? Oh my gosh, I have missed you so much. But anyways, welcome to Civilization. If you've never heard of it, it's a strategy game that's completely turn-based. You can make it go faster if you want to, but you can pretty much take it at whatever speed you want to. I think my dad's downstairs. Okay, cool. So he already knows. I'm about to go. Well, you just got here. What do you mean you're going to go? You just literally come back. All right. Well, fine. I guess it's fine, Ryan. Fine. Just popped in my life, steal my heart, and run away with it. Gosh. At some point, we have to do something again. I don't know how it's going to work or how it's going to look, but it's been a whole over a year since I've seen you, so that needs to change. I've actually, while I have your attention, Ryan, I have begun. How dare you have responsibilities? Fair. But actually, I have some ideas in the work. I do want to have another Friendsgiving thing, and so I have like more details about that in the near future. It's actually this time talking about it with your mom, and so maybe we can work something out with that, like a special Friendsgiving, that sort. So I guess more details to that will come with time, but that is heavily on my mind. I'm trying to figure out like how I'm going to work it and how many people I want to invite in total. But so something needs to happen at some point. Just gonna put that out there, but we'll figure it out, and I trust we'll figure out it at some point. So cool. But yes, God, Ryan, I've missed you. You have no idea. Like, I should have 2 weeks to throw my vacation this year. Okay, cool. But we'll find out after June begins, yeah. I know in June, I'll be going up to Pennsylvania and then coming back down again. Gonna go up and meet Axe and then come back down, and he'll be down here for a bit and then head back up. So I'll be having that next month. I'm very excited for it. It's been a while. But yes, so how have you been, Ryan? How's life been treating you? How's work? Yeah, probably around that time. Which, that's another thing. I don't know what that's gonna look like. I may. Can't give you a percentage on how big that is, but may end up there somehow, some shape, way, or form. I'm not kidding. But no big promises on that one. And I know it's strange because, yes, we're not blood relatives. Yes. But unfortunately, you have to talk about some important stuff. Oh, I would love to hear more about this at some point. So, yeah. Want to hear more about that. I want to hear how's life been, what you've been up to, all that good stuff. Because it's just been too long. It has been absolutely too long. And I'm never quite sure how to start this off. Yes, I agree. Yes. Maybe, possibly, something within October. Maybe, possibly. But at the very least, also finding a way to make a Friendsgiving thing happen. Because that'd be great. I would love to share Thanksgiving with you guys again. Some shape, way, or form. So, I think this is already a decent spot to start. So, real quick, before I respond to whatever else you may say from this point, Ryan. To those who've never played Civilization, it is, it's a strategy game where you choose any sort of civilization they have available. Americans, Japanese, Persians, Russians, Spaniards, whatever. And you can you go about founding cities, building up the land around you, making an army, going to war, or trying to move towards ultimate peace. As you progress from the ancient era all the way to our current era and then beyond. It's a lot of fun. Rise of Kingdoms. I've heard, is that a phone game? Very little. I'll talk probably tomorrow. Okay. Cool. Because my ride is downstairs. Okay, well, have a good time, Ryan. Thank you for stopping by. I love you. What about those of us who have played too much Civilization? Well, then you can enjoy and critique my way of playing Civilization. I can finally become the no-no German without actually being a no-no German. Oh, gosh. It's a mobile game with the most ridiculous and repetitive ads you've ever seen. Yo, I've seen some of them, actually, yes, as they've been advertised to me via the YouTubers that I watch. So, yes. I think this is good. I'm on a mountain. They'll give me production. I have a river. That'll give me good stuff for later. I don't have to worry about flooding. I have jade. I have rocks. I have silk. And I think this is good enough as any place to spawn in a city. Yes, established city. Except I'm not going to call it Paris grade, but I'm going to call it my own thing. Because reasons. Let me just change that. Yeah. Drymore. There we go. Perfect. Perfection. you've mainly played Civ 5, though, so my experience is somewhat different. Well, yeah. I mean, the differences between Civ 5 and Civ 6, there's differences for sure. Definite differences, but there is still yet a consistent theme that runs between 5 and 6, though. It's not too bad. And you can play as the Germans. Speaking of the No Man Gaming War, you can play as Germans in Civ 6 or 5 or any other Civ, but when it comes to leaders, Hitler is not a leader option. Some other German leaders are the leader options in Civ. So, yeah. Wait, what's made in China? You're talking about the game, the Kingdom game? Let's see. I have Civ 6, but I've never finished a game. Ottoman von Bismarck, yes. Ottoman von Bismarck, yes. But yes, there probably is some mod to add Hitler into the game if you so wanted to have Hitler in there. I'm sure of it. Hitler does exist in other games. Like, I'm pretty sure he probably exists in Hearts of Iron 2, 4? I don't know what version they're onto that, but this, no. Obama fried chicken. What? No, Obama is not in this game. Alright. Let's see. What am I going to research? What am I going to do? Sailing. I don't need sailing immediately. I can come back, circle back around to sailing. Pottery. So, okay. Okay, so Hearts of Iron 4, that makes sense. So, in Civ 6, or most Civ games, you start by making your city. After you've plopped down your city, you have to choose what you're going to research, and you have a huge technology tree to work your way down. Like I said, all the way up to the future era, into our era and beyond. Whoa. And it's all strategy, so you can, research whatever the crap you want to research, but you have to be strategic about it, because if you research something that you don't need, and let's say you're trying to research, I don't know, an aqueduct, and you're in the middle of a desert, that's kind of pointless, like, unless you have a mountain that you can utilize for water. Or if you, I don't know, create a city that's not next to an ocean, you're in the middle of a continent, there's no real reason to research sailing. So you have to be strategic about what you research. You have to be strategic about what resources to use. I mean, the ultimate goal is to survive to the very end against all other civilizations, and there are different win conditions, but those are one of them. I have never heard of Whack-Donalds at all. Hearts of Iron 4 includes them because history. Exactly. And yes, I have played City Skylines. I love City Skylines. I haven't streamed it, obviously, but I do love City Skylines, in answering your question. It may be a bit of a chill game, but it definitely has more moving parts than Civilization 6 does. I'd have to pause it more frequently. This just automatically pauses itself between rounds, so that's very useful to start off with. I never knew there was a restaurant that exists. Rush boats while situated in mountains. Rush nukes as soon as possible. Good morning, yes. Good morning, Gaming Warrior. And good night to the rest of you. I think it's completely unfair that there is no way to say good night to people without it being implying the end of something. I mean, it's the end of the day, but not everyone is asleep at night. So, like, I'm not saying goodbye when I say good night. There has to be a way that I can say hello at nighttime that involves the nighttime without implying I'm done. And I don't know what that is. The sun's very good. Put all your resources into nuke. I think this time... Let's see, I have cattle. I have stone. I could research that. Pottery allows harvesting bonus resource of farms, which will be useful because I have a lot of stuff from. Let's start with pottery, and then we'll work our way into stones. We'll start there. And the first thing I'm going to build, and the first thing I like to build when I'm playing any new game of Civilization, are scouts. Because what the heck exists around me that I need to be prepared to encounter? I don't know. I don't know until I send my little scouts out to find out for me. Is Stalin a person in this game? Are you asking, Zap? Like, is Stalin a Civ 6 character you can play as? Or Mussolini? Because if you're asking that question, the answer is a solid no. You cannot play as Stalin or Mussolini or Hitler or any of those characters within Civilization 6. So, sorry. You actually, ironically though, in Code of Law, maybe not there. In your governing style, which eventually will unlock. I don't have that yet. Wait, do I have that? Governors, great people, civics tree. No. No, not governors. Anyways, either way, if he is a real I mean, yes, Stalin is a real person. But I see, it's a joke. No, yes, he is not in the game answering your question. But anyways, you eventually can choose different governing styles, which includes fascism and communism, despite the fact you cannot play as Mussolini or Stalin or Hitler. You can still become a fascist if you so desired. It is not. Only Russia. Yes, from Russia. So yes, if you wanted to go in the direction of fascism, you could. You could do that, and then half the NPCs would hate you. And the other half would be concerned. So, yeah. So once you settle down, you choose a science. You begin exploring. You choose what to build next. I choose scouts. Next turn. And every turn, I can then move things around once. Oh. Thank you. I'm glad to know that this has floodplains in this desert. How nice. No, Lenin is not in this. Similar story with Mussolini. Italy has a long history, and there are better leaders to represent their history. Can you speedrun being assassinated? Wow. Such little faith in me. If I can speedrun not dying, that'd be great. Oh, look. That's fun. Cool. So yeah, my goal in the very beginning of the game is to see what exists around me so I know where I want to expand. Because I'm in a world large enough to support 8 total players. So there's a lot to be seen, and if I don't expand fast enough, they're going to snap up resources that I will need later, and I don't want that. CK, yes, definitely for sure. Speedrun bankruptcy, God. I would prefer not to speedrun any of those things. Okay. Move that guy up that way. Okay, give me another scout. But this game, I'm not planning to speedrun anything of that negative nature. Thank you very much. I like to win, not lose, if I can help it. Okay. And you can go that way. And we'll have one more turn, and then I'll start talking. So you go that way. Ooh, very fertile river. How nice. You go that way, and we have a city-state. Speedrun diplomatic. Well, actually, I cannot speedrun a diplomatic victory. I have turned that off. I think diplomatic victories are weak. Just saying. I feel like it's just like, oh, you are the most beloved character in the game. Yay. It just seems like the cheapest thing you could do. But yes, there are different ways to win. There is diplomatic victories. There are war victories where you pretty much conquer every other civilization there ever was. You have cultural victories where you make everyone around you the most fascinated with your culture ever. like accidentally converting to you from time to time. You can have religious victories, where everyone embraces your religion, or you can have science victories, where you are the first person to reach Mars. I think it stretches a little bit farther in Civ 6, but in previous one, it was the first person to land on Mars, I think, wins the science victory. And then there is diplomatic victory, which I think is boring, where effectively you are the most people-pleasing civilization that ever existed, which is honestly actually pretty easy for me. And I don't like it. I like more of a challenge than that. Convert everyone to Christianity, yes. How do we win, may you ask? Well, just drop the sun and get all the land. Yeah. So, yes. There's different ways to victory in this. Also, a fun thing about Civ 6 is that everything you research has some sort of quote they find. And I kind of like the previous quote that they used for pottery. When you research pottery, it was, "Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest thou?" And it always hit me every time I research pottery, which is pretty early on. Get some tea. Okay, well, have fun getting tea. So yeah. So, I have a question for all of you guys. How many of you struggle, deal with perfectionism? Like being perfectionistic, like not having any sort of chill unless you do everything absolutely perfectly right, or often get anxious because you know you're failing in an area and you can't seem to stop failing in that area, or are really angry at yourself because you know you could be doing more, but for some reason you're not. How many of you guys struggle with perfectionism to some shape, way, or form or degree? Out of curiosity. Just curious. Whoop, there it goes. You gestured to all of me. 100%. Every day. Am I not alone in this? Am I not the only perfectionist in this chat? Not as much as I used to, but I've been there a lot. Oh, look, I found someone. I have to, I'm looking over my microphone to see what it's saying in English, because I don't understand Arabic. Okay. Hello, it's an honor to meet you. I will love to sample your hospitality. How far do you have to go with perfectionism to be considered a perfectionist? Is it just small scale, or do you have to be a perfectionist about absolutely everything? I don't think you have to be perfectionistic about absolutely everything to be a perfectionist. But at the same time... Okay, so no... Okay, sweet. At the same time, if you find yourself kind of being hampered emotionally on a regular basis by being unable to achieve certain things in certain areas, you may have areas in your life where you are being perfectionistic. Like, maybe not in the grand scheme of things are you perfectionistic, but you might have certain areas that you are. So, I guess... I don't know exactly at what threshold or tipping point someone becomes, like, the pure example of perfectionistic. But do you find yourself getting down on yourself quite easily when you make a mistake? Do you find yourself dwelling on your mistakes that you make often? Do you... There's different degrees. You could say, do you hate yourself? Yes, and also not really. Well, okay. Do you find yourself, like, dealing with a lot of people-pleasing, like wanting to do things right, and so in order for you to be accepted or whatever? There's, like, different ways that perfectionism can manifest itself. It's not all just, like, one way that it can manifest itself. I do dwell on a lot of mistakes I make, but rarely. So at some points in your life, you just kind of become, like, zeroed in on specific areas, I see. So you might not be bookcase, like, absolutely by the book you are perfectionistic, but you probably have some areas that you have to struggle with perfectionism with and/or on. People pleasing used to be a big thing for me, but I've been trying to focus a bit more on myself recently. Okay. So sweet. Sweet. Good. Well, for me, I'm not the biggest perfectionistic person. You can come to my house and you'll find that not every speck of dust is not swept up. You know, you will find that, like, I will have things kind of a little bit of a mess on tables. I don't have to look the most neat and clean, have the cleanest clothing, shoes, or whatever. I'm glad. I'm very glad about that. That means a lot to me. But when it comes to... I am perfectionistic because if it isn't perfect, you can always improve. Well, okay, cool. And also, hello. I've never seen you before. Hello. Welcome. But... So, yeah, like, yeah... And I'm gonna get into some of that, like, if it isn't perfect, you can always improve. Yes, because that is very accurate and true. There's always room for growth. But there's a way about going through growth that is helpful and realistic, and it will allow you to accomplish more. And then there's a way about going about growth that is very legalistic, not helpful, and results in more... What's the word? Procrastination, laziness, anxiety, anger, self-hatred. And that's kind of what I want to focus in on today for the stream, is kind of like what I've learned to cope and deal with that stuff so that I become more productive and not just kind of implode and need help to pull back out of that again. Although... I think I'll probably forever and always be having some of that to work through and go through throughout my life. So this is not a, like, here's how you get rid of perfectionism completely and forever. That's not it. I don't think there really is a way to completely get rid of it. But I do think there are ways of not having to deal with it so much that you become incapacitated. I think it depends on how passionate I am about a thing. Like, if it's something I'm cooking, I'm always beating myself up for making mistakes. But if it's something that, like, vacuuming the house, that just, fair. Yeah, and that's a fair point, too. I don't think everyone's going to be perfectionistic about everything all the time. Because there's just no way for someone to be thinking about every little aspect of everything ever. So, fair. Let's do, I don't know, do writing or mining. I'm trying to decide between those two. I am here because one of my friends that's got stabbed that watched you, we don't know if he is going to make it, but he recommended the stream to me a couple times. Wow. Wow. I've never heard that before. Well, my heart goes out to you real bad in this moment to hear that your friend has gone through that, like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, Zap. That sounds like a very good idea. my heart goes out to you right now, and I want to just say before we pray that if ever you need a community to be there for you, to talk to you, to support you through your struggles, we're here for you. And part of Thought Raid is this, where we talk about specific topics and work through things. And part of Thought Raid is the fact that we are a community. So my heart is with you right now. It must be traumatic to have a friend that's close to you that gets stabbed and don't know if they're going to make it through. But we're going to pray. What, Gunshot, what would you like for us to pray over this situation? Because I know what I want to pray, but I want to know what you would like us to pray for your friend here before I move forward on that. What do you have faith for? What do you want to see happen? He said he liked watching you. I just went through texts that he sent, and you happened to be live when he sent me a message linking the stream. Okay. I think I'm going to go with writing. I'm going to do writing. We're going to learn writing early on. My people shall become literate.
Man is the noblest of all animals. Separated from law and justice, he is the worst.
But yeah, Gunshot, what do you want us to pray for specifically in this situation? Like, what do you have faith for in this moment? Okay. Okay, so maybe he's not as close to you as originally assumed. Okay. Well, then, we'll lead in that prayer, then. Let me choose some policies real quick, and then we'll pray. Let's do... 'cause I don't know how many barbarians I'm going to run into. Let's give ourselves survey. Take a risk here. And go that route. And research... foreign trade? Yeah, that's a little bit faster and shorter. If he is an Overwatch player, could it be Hell Knight? That's one person I'm thinking of that plays Overwatch a lot, who's streamed, I think, question mark. Because of all the people that I know who would be likely to get stabbed, Hell Knight would definitely be up there on that one. Yeah, same. Same school and good friends. Okay. Oh, so you are, okay, so you are close. I didn't get that wrong the first time. Okay, good to know. I wasn't sure if I was interpreting things correctly. Move my units. Oh, Inca. Sweet. Honor to meet you. Exchange information. Moving right along. Okay. Let's get ourselves closer to Cairo. And there's the Inca way up there. Okay, cool. And you will go the opposite direction. That might be it. He is the Knight of Hell, Hell Knight. So yeah, that makes sense. Also, hello, Calypso. Welcome. Okay. So yeah, that is important. Hell Knight is definitely an important part of our community, which I haven't seen for a bit, and now I understand why. So we are definitely going to take a moment and pray for Hell Knight, because, yeah, because that's not okay. All right. I'm gonna stop this music too here to focus in on that and turn down Civ 6 so I can focus really good on this prayer here. All right, guys, we're praying for Hell Knight here. Father, right now, I just lift up to you Hell Knight, and this friend of Gunshot, and I just thank you, Lord, that nothing escapes your sight. So, Father, I just lift up him to you right now, and I just pray that you rescue him from death. Thank you, Lord, for healing his wounds and saving him from death, that he will make it through this. Thank you, Lord, for clearing out any sort of infection from the stabs. Thank you, Lord, for covering the cost of his time in the hospital, if he is in the hospital even. Father, I just pray that your strength be within him and upon him, Lord. Fill him with your perfect love. Thank you, Lord, for sending angels that can fight back the enemy in his life, Father, and give him another chance. Thank you, Lord, that he will come out of this alive and make a full recovery. But save him, Lord. Don't let him slip. Yeah. Thank you, Lord, for being with him, Lord, right now, and rescuing not just his body, but also his life and his heart. And help him, Lord, too, when he comes out of this, to learn from this experience and learn not to fight people constantly, but to make peace with the world around him. That he won't end up in this situation again. Really, Lord, fill him with your perfect love, cast out all fear, and heal the wounds, both physical and emotional, in his life. And bring him back to us, Lord. In your name, amen. So yeah, I'm just letting his friends know what happened. Sorry for the pressing stuff. I'm glad you were with him, and hopefully still will be with him. Yeah, it's okay. This is important. Like, I'm not... thoutraid isn't about constant... thoutraid is not about constant good times of just everything is happy all the time. Like, I'm not interested in being a streamer that can't handle stuff like this. If there's legitimately a problem now, granted, I'm not interested in people faking stuff going on, because that's not fair for anyone. But if there is a legitimate issue, like someone who's a part of our community who has gotten stabbed and is not doing okay, that's really important to me. And I'm willing to stop everything and focus on that, because we are a community of friends. So, like, before we are a community about gaming and better ways of thinking, we're a community. He's a part of this community, and we want to see him be okay. So, this is important. Don't feel bad. Like, I am verklempt a little bit in this moment. Or verklempt, I guess the correct word is. So, thank you for bringing that information, Gunshot. So, yeah. I appreciate you taking the time to do that, taking a risk in doing that, letting us know. And please do keep us up to date on what's going on with Hell Knight, with your friend, so we can continue to pray and stand in faith for a recovery, that he'll make it through this and come out on the other side alive. So yeah, please keep me up to date on that, and thank you. Okay. Let's see. And now... yeah, I should probably really quickly focus on expansion early on. So yes, okay. So you will move up to the borders of Brussels and keep going. And you will go nowhere because you're out of turns. Okay, cool. Cool. So yeah, all right. Let me focus back over to here so you can see what I'm doing rather than just hearing me do stuff. I know he was a huge fighter, but his young brother was on the floor and two people stamping him on his head. And when one pulled a knife, Jack saved his brother and took a stab in the back. Sometimes you forget what life has to offer, good or bad. I think it was brave heroisms. Okay. So, Jack, which I guess would be Hell Knight, saved his brother, in this case, from being stomped in the head.
Let me ask you,
Oh, hey.
to pay a tribute of respect and admiration to the once desired Matterhorn, before his head has lost the last rays of the sun departing to gild loftier and more distant ranges.
Huh. Interesting. Eureka. Ooh, that's nice. So got that there. Just gonna make our way through Brussels. Keep moving that way. And you can go this way around Cairo. What did I just find? Ooh, I'm probably not gonna get to that before they take it. That sucks. Oh well. Well, was that correct? Am I reading things correctly? Gunshot. I gotta go. Good luck. Hopefully Jack will be back soon. Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for joining, Gunshot. Have a good night. I don't think that anyone could be anything except pure and absolutely bravery to stand up to someone being kicked in the head like that. Yeah. No, that it would be brave. And that's on par for the course of Hell Knight. Papa Calypso said hello. Hello, Kenneth Senior. Yeah. Ooh, this is not a good situation for my scouts. Welcome back with the tea, Gaming Warrior. You missed us praying for Hell Knight. Hell Knight went to protect his brother, I think, from being kicked in the head and ended up getting stabbed. So we were praying for him. But welcome back. I'm gonna go that way and hope that the barbarians attack me up a mountain, because that would be dumb for them and great for me. And you can do nothing, because you're stuck. So we'll go that way. And you're not going to attack them. You are going to be promoted. Fast moving on hill terrain. Sounds good. Yes. Okay, cool. So, yeah. Welcome back. What kind of tea do you have, Gaming Warrior? I knew it. Dumb, although that took a lot of health. That alone took a lot of health out of my poor scout. Run, scout, run. Oh, and there's the barbarian encampment. Lovely. Love that. Great. Okay, can't move, so you'll wait. And you will go this way. Ah, more barbarians. Nice. Okay. Oh, yes, delegations. That's nice. Cool. Masala tea with ginger, tulsi, and cardamom and other spices. I have no idea what those spices... Or what... actually, beyond... ginger, I have no idea what cardamom is in terms of a spice. Oh dear God, I am surrounded. This is not a great situation. This is suboptimal. We'll go this way and just roll the dice. Probably still get stabbed. It's alright. Okay, cool. Alright, so the question that I asked before you disappeared for some tea was how many of you guys dealt with perfectionism? How many of you guys have actually struggled with anger towards yourself because you missed the mark, what you're trying to accomplish, didn't do things quite well, anxiety of things going horribly wrong because you're not doing the things you know you should be doing, fear of being rejected because you're not the best friend that you could be. How many of you guys struggle with that? And most of you guys said that you would struggle with something of that nature. Do you do as well, Gaming Warrior? Is that something that you ever kind of deal with, like perfectionism? Do you know? Let's skip a turn. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's insta-death. Rip that guy. Not much, really. Struggling, but sometimes, yeah, I guess it did. Okay. And struggling can look really different for every person. Not everybody is going to be struggling to, like, the exact definition of perfectionism. Like, you may be perfectionistic about some things, but not other things. So it's a range. But essentially, if you have areas in your life where you know you lose a lot of peace because you're like constantly thinking over the areas where you missed the mark in something, or you're really angry with yourself because you knew you could have done better but you didn't, just a general sense of anxiety, anger, I think those are like the two main emotions really attached, or even depression, kind of that slots in with like feeling like you're not doing as much as you could. That's something I want to focus on today. I want to really talk to that, because I've dealt with a lot of anxiety over the course of my 31 years of life, and a lot of it has definitely been linked to the fact of missing the mark, not really doing what I know I should be doing, and like, why? Why do I not eat healthy when I know I could be eating, like, I should eat healthy and it's good for me? Like, why did I, you know, not make a good piece of art like I knew I could? Like, you know, why did I say that thing to that person? Like, I have really struggled with this, especially in the areas, being a Christian especially, I've struggled with a lot of perfectionism because, like, there's areas where I know this is not morally good for me, but I'm gonna do it anyways, and I don't know why I'm doing this crap. Why am I doing this? This is bad. What the hell? So my opinion about that is that perfectionism is good for calculating something or working in mathematics part, but as for other things like art perfection is the worst possible thing. Yeah, I guess there's some things where it probably is more beneficial than others. Fair. But, yeah. It's gonna be kind of tough for me to talk a lot about this after what I just heard, but my answer is still yes. Yes, but. Fair enough. But yeah, like, I've struggled with this, and so there's some things that I've learned, and the first big way that I've learned, and I'm gonna get very Christian here right now, so bear with me. The first major way that I have learned in my life to deal with perfectionism is having an advocate, because in this world, there are plenty of people, depending especially on, like, your upbringing or the people that have been in your life, that would be happy to point out every mistake that you ever make, to make them look better and you look worse. And even if you don't have to deal with that, there is plenty of things that you could do wrong where your whole mind can condemn you for things that you did wrong that you know you shouldn't have done. And there is an enemy that exists, I believe, supernaturally, that his whole thing is condemning people and making them feel terrible for every single mistake that they ever make. We refer to him as Satan, or the Satan, but mostly in Christian circles, people just referring to him as Satan. So the key part about perfectionism is that it's an important base for math and some science, but science cannot define life, and religion can. Yeah, science can explain why things are happening, but it's faith that kind of helps connect everything together, which is why art exists. Yeah, in part, art helps with that. But focusing in, having an advocate is really important for me when it comes to dealing with perfectionism, because otherwise I am a sitting duck for people to ridicule me, point out my flaws, show me all the areas that I failed, that I know I failed in, and make me feel absolutely terrible about them. And I've realized, especially today, that advocacy is really an important way of overcoming perfectionism. Because with an advocate, I have someone who is able to stand up to the critics, and help buy me space to be imperfect and to keep working when I want to give up because everyone says that what I did is not great. So having a person there to be an advocate is really important. And for me, there is no greater advocate than Jesus. And so before I go into the other things that I've learned that kind of like have really supplemented this first part, I really want to make a case for Christ. Okay, cool. We have varying amounts of critics in this world. I dealt with narcissists growing up, and narcissists are just hypercritics. Like, you can never do right in their eyes. There's always something you're doing wrong, and it always must be something that kind of lands in their favor. Okay, we'll do. And so I've had my own reality and perceptions brought into question time and time again by narcissists. And it absolutely sucks. And besides them, I've had to deal with my own self-doubts. Which is why there is this quote that states, art is made from the heart, not from the mind. Yeah. And even without having narcissists in my life, I have my own, like, conscience that screams at me and tells me at times, like, you shouldn't have done this. This is not good. You were awkward. You did something that was wrong. You are a sinful person. And I think most people probably have some form of that kind of conscience. How nice, kind, good it is to them, I think, varies person to person. And there probably are some people whose consciences are not so aggressive. Yes. Because I know that there are people out there that are psychopaths. And I don't mean that in an insulting way, but I mean that more in a scientific way, where they just don't feel regret. Or they don't really feel shame. So for them, not so much of a big deal. But for others, like myself, you might struggle with just condemnation when you make mistakes and then feel like you're never going to come out of whatever problem you're dealing with. You're always going to be a failure. You're never going to do enough, whatever. And it sucks to live under that. It's not good to let that voice reign in your head for long, because it doesn't really motivate you to do good things. And so that's where I really feel like Christ makes a huge difference for me. And everywhere I am at now would not be possible without him as my advocate. Because one, Christ came to this world. He lived as a human being, although he was not. He was God. But he suffered through all the same things that I had to suffer through, was tempted in all the same ways that I was tempted, but yet did not make a mistake. And when he died, he was resurrected back to life and ascended into heaven, where he can be an advocate for me, not just on earth like he was, but in heaven as well before God, who is perfect, who makes no mistakes, and has the standards I cannot reach. It's just not possible with my current state that I am in. But more than that, I have a relationship with him. Like, I communicate with him, talk to him, and he communicates back to me. And so when I get stuck in my head, I always have a friend that I can talk to that can help me center myself and ask me questions that will help me kind of dig out of my very soul why I'm bothered in the first place, or what beliefs I have that are not healthy about myself or about different things in life. And so he is legitimately my best friend, more than anyone in my life. And he's always available. Like, whereas other people have to go to bed and sleep, or they have other things to do with their own lives because their life is finite. Jesus is not. He is not confined by that. So he's a constant friend, but he is also a constant advocate, and not an advocate that enables me to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do, if it's not good or healthy for me, but is able to, like, when I make mistakes, stand in the gap and to be that go-to. And let's see, what are you guys saying? So as they say, fearing the death will make you a perfectionist, but by not fearing death, you will always love the life that you have, no matter how sad it is. Maybe. That seems a little bit too simplistic, Gaming Warrior. Because again, you have people in life that don't really fear death, but they don't also really live life well. That kind of upend that. So I don't think necessarily fearing life or fearing death is going to make you perfectionistic. Because some people will look at that and, I don't know. Like, fearing death does motivate people to do things that they wouldn't normally otherwise do in an unhealthy sense. That's fair. But to say that if you don't fear death, then you're just going to always love life that you have, no matter how sad it is, maybe. Was there ever a point in his life where Jesus sinned in any way, shape, or form, or was he literally the perfect person? The way the Word of God says it, he did not sin. He had no sin. He did not sin. That's not to say, I don't know if there was moments where, like, he wasn't aware, because the infinite God was boiled down into human form and had to learn everything. He had to eat, he had to sleep, he had to drink and use the bathroom and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if there was moments in his life where he was in a stage of innocence and didn't know, but whatever that may look like, the Bible is insistent that he did not sin. There was at no point where he did something willfully that he knew he should not do. Or maybe even unwillfully, like willfully or unwillfully, never did anything that he should not do, far as I'm aware. I cannot speak to anything beyond that, but according to the Bible, according to what a lot of theologians who study the Bible say, both Jew and Christian, well, not Jew, but Christian, Messianic Jew, to be fair, or Christian, he did not sin. Welcome, Kenneth. No, there is records of his early life. There's many different accounts and records of him. There is also falsified records of his life too, that we consider as Christians to be heresy. But If you were to go straightly by the canonical 66 books of the Bible, he did no sin. Yes, I am playing against AI. Did God ever ally with a bad person to fight another worse being? Not that I'm aware of. Although you could say he allied with us. So there is that, in a sense, but not to say that he needed us, more so that he chose us. So even that is to say something. God uses people, so he definitely uses imperfect people that make mistakes and are flawed. But I don't think at any point that he needs anyone that he would need an allyship with them. More so of, like, friendship and fatherhood, I think, is the main ways that he interacts with us. I think God kind of allied with everyone to fight the devil. That's tricky. Because, and the reason why it's tricky is because he already has the victory. So it's not like he's fighting some battle of which like he needs help. Everything has been played out. It's done. He already has the victory. Death has been defeated for him, and eventually it will be defeated for us. I think that God definitely partners with us, and he partners with us to love the world around us, to bring about righteous judgment, like justice. And there is ways, okay, to be fair, there is scripture verses in the Bible that talks about that we are at war with the enemy. So, I guess you could say in a sense, yes. But it's like, it's a complicated yes, because it's not straight up 100% yes, as if God needs an army. But he definitely has an army, and we are a part of that. But we are also part of his body. So it's interesting, kind of looking at that. We're talking about a deity that exists outside of space-time. So, like, everything that ever has been, is, or will be, has already happened for God, and is happening constantly. Again, that's tricky, because in all technicality, yes and no. Like, I wish I could give you a definitive yes or a definitive no, but it's both. Like, this is just an absolute gray area, because there has been moments where the enemy has won over humanity, but God still has the victory. And he still hit the enemy that we fight. His entire future has already been written out, and his destination is the lake of fire. So, like, he's already lost, and there's a scripture verse that says that he knows that he's already lost. So the devil already knows that he's lost. He still continues to do what he does, despite knowing that, because he hates us, and he hates God more. He hates us because we were made in his image, but he ultimately hates God. So yes, we are at a war, and he has lost battles, but he's also ultimately won. Because again, we're boiling down the actions of a divine being person who exists outside of space-time. Time as a concept is not applicable to him. He exists, he created time and put us in it. So, like, he already lost, won everything. He has the victory, ultimately. Like, he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. So can we say that it's like a fight against peace and war? I think it's just the struggle between what is God and what is not God, kind of working itself out in our own timeline. Like, history and everything is already set. But at the same time, it is also changing as we move through it. So it's something that I have some understanding on, because God has revealed to me different things, and also so much more to learn. And these questions are interesting, because these are things I will definitely be thinking about for sure after this stream. But I don't know if I could say it's a fight against peace and war. There just is a fight. There's a constant war for the souls of all humanity. A war against our conscience, and I guess that's what fits in with this whole thing with perfectionism. There's a constant war against our hearts and our minds, trying to callous us, trying to convert us into weapons against all that God stands for. But bucking against that and standing for all that God stands for and turning in weapons against that. But we're fighting for those who are fighting with God, we're fighting a fight that results in our victory and his victory. Even though it is still indeed very much so a war. There's just a lot of interesting scripture verses, like where it talks about like Jesus being slain and hung on that cross long before had actually happened. Like before even history even existed, being slain before the foundation of the world. Like, God, you have to like grasp, God is outside of time. So we haven't experienced it yet, but he has. And everything we have experienced, he is experiencing at the same time. Like, there's not an instance of anything anywhere ever that he is not presently experiencing. We could also say that we could also say it as rose has beautiful flower, but its branches has thorns. Yes, that is an accurate concept of like humanity. We have a beautiful flower, but at the same time we also have our thorns. But yeah. So, but yes, he has allied with us. Going back to, God allying in the force against the forces of evil. He has partnered with us, chosen us specifically to be his chosen people. So yeah. Interesting. So I really feel like it's important that we have an advocate in our lives in this fight against ourselves, against sin, against things that are not healthy for us, against specifically the voices that will shame us for whenever we do make mistakes. Because trying to accomplish those things and you just feel terrible about yourself is very hard. And to have someone there to say, it's okay, I've been through this, you're okay, you're going to make it through this, you're going to become stronger on the other side of all this pain and suffering you're going through. I understand your pain, leave this person alone, enemy. I think that's so critical when dealing with shame, when dealing with perfectionism, because Jesus isn't going to lower the standard. But at the same time, he's not going to beat you into the ground because you missed the standard. And that's why I think he's amazing, personally. Because the amount of times I've made mistakes and the amount of growth that I've made when I know that my mistakes are not going to be held against me and I have a chance to get back up and try again, I would not be who I am today if I did not have that assurance in my life. I have another one. So in Taoism, they say, in good there is bad, in bad there is good, and together it's life. Let me rephrase it. Okay, well, go ahead. Try to rephrase it. When I do that, I'll move my scouts around.
That's the positive aspect of trade, I suppose. The world gets stirred up together.
Nope. We'll not do that yet. Oh, sweet Jesus. There are now 2 scouts. Okay, so you got it correct then. Cool. Ooh, I'm doing worse than those guys. That's no good. The first one's a lot simpler. Okay. So, in Taoism, saying that there is good, in good there is bad, and in bad there is good. Together, it's life. Yes, even a person with their best intentions are going to have evil things that they do. And the best intentions, some people are going to benefit from them, and some people are not going to benefit from them. So, yes, in a general life statement, and in the bad, good things can come, like, you know, a volcano erupting causes death for everyone around it, but then the soil that results is very rich, and a lot of good can come out of it on the back end of a volcanic eruption. So yes, you could say that there is good within evil, and then you can also say that God works all things together for good for those he loves and are called according to his purposes. So yes, that is generally accurate, yes. Let me go that route. And let's hope the scouts don't decide to attack my warriors, because that would suck. So, yeah. But, I want to talk and speak to, more of the things that have kind of helped me when it comes to dealing with perfectionism. Because in addition to, like, learning about how much advocacy for me and my life is important and how Jesus has really helped me through that, I've also kind of learned other things just about life in general that has kind of helped me calm down with my own perfectionism that I want to share. But not without, so once again stating, for me, and I feel like for anyone, Jesus is an important advocate to have. Not just be some religious person you interact with in heaven every once in a while, you know, but that you internalize and you communicate with and spend time with. Take seriously, not just he is an option, but making him into your first and only in terms of all other deities that exist. Because no other god that I've heard of thus far is as well-rounded as him. And I've heard of some different gods that exist in other pantheons and religions. But even the ones more closer to Christianity, like Allah, just don't, for what I've heard in their totality, miss the mark in terms of really capturing the essence of humanity and that which is good and loving. So yes, as far as for perfectionism and is doing something simply and easily better than making it hard through suffering. As for perfectionism is doing something simply and easily is better than making it hard through suffering. I'm not quite sure where you're going with that, Gaming Warrior. Like, I see what you're saying, but I don't understand what you're saying. You're throwing a lot of quotes at me today. So, he's made a big difference in my life. On a personal note, Jesus has helped me accept who I am. He has challenged me to grow and not to feel like a victim. He has helped me use the intellect that he's given me, and rather than just expecting everyone to give me the answers always. He has been there to listen when other people can't. And he has revealed things to me that other people who are smarter than I am figured out over their life, and I was able to figure out because of him. is solving a puzzle of life with ease a good, or is it better if you work through the suffering? I think it's good to go through suffering. And that's another thing. Jesus is not afraid to go through suffering. Not to say that you intentionally throw yourself into suffering, but if you happen to find yourself going through suffering, you're not running away from it. And that's something I think Jesus really captures very well, is the importance and the growth that happens through suffering. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they skip out on going through a rough time, they lose something in the process. They lose very important growth. That can only be had when you allow yourself to go through a rough time. Let's see. Do I want to build a trader? I might want to build a trader. I also need to have someone to fight the barbarians. So let's make a slinger.
I'm a Sagittarius, and we're skeptical.
Like, if you are doing laundry easily by throwing it into the washing machine, or is it better to wash it with soap by hands? Well, okay, now I don't think it, like, if you're gonna boil it down that far, I don't think you need to make everything in your life constant suffering, no. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about suffering for suffering's sake. I'm talking about when you find yourself that your washing machine is broken and you need to still wash your laundry, to go through the process of either getting a new laundry machine or utilizing what you have to clean your laundry, but making the most of your situation. You know, not running away from suffering. I did that for Zap. So yeah, I'm not talking about let's make your life as hard as possible so you can suffer through all things. No. I don't think there is any merit to intentionally putting yourself into suffering's way when you don't have to. I think that there are times and place for it, in the sense of, like, working out is suffering. Eating healthy is suffering. Yeah, okay, you might want to suffer in those situations because that brings about better. You know, unfortunately in life, there has to be a certain amount of activity done in your life to maintain good health, and good eating that's required to maintain good health. So that's important. You might want to suffer through eating, you know, something like fruit or vegetables rather than going for, you know, something that's high in salt or sugar or whatever else. At the same time, like, there is no point in, like, you know, if you have to, like, make your own farm and, you know, raise every bit of food that you'll ever eat, you know, and prepare it all. Like, no, you don't have to find the hardest way to go through things. That's not necessary. If you want to, sure, great. But I don't think there's really any merit in putting yourself through more suffering than necessary. Another one, is it a good idea to learn to write by hand, or is it good idea to use a keyboard in modern day-to-day life? Both. Like, it's really good. You're going to need to be able to learn how to type because that's just where the direction of technology is going. But at the same time, you also want to learn how to draw and write and all that kind of stuff because you might not always have the computers. Like, if we were to go through World War III, which it seems like we're still heading in that direction, and technology goes backwards for a time because we end up causing a lot of pain and suffering on the world, it's good to know how to write. Like, you know, and besides that, even not, it's still fun to write. You know, not always going to have some kind of device right next to you to jot down all the information. So yes, learn to write. But also learn to type. Like, there's not, like, one or the other. It's both. I find that there's a lot of things in life that are like that are just both. Why not both? Why must it only be one or the other? Let's see here. Let's do mining now. Yeah. Both all the time. Yeah. So, We literally had an entire section of classes in Ireland about how to type properly, and I still type with 2 fingers because I find it that much easier for me. I mean, shame. Jeez. I, for one, like, they teach you, you know, you keep your fingers on ASD and LKJ, and I generally don't really pay attention to where my fingers go, and I'm still a faster typer than a lot of people are. I don't think there's any, like, there's a way you can type, but I don't think it's like that's like having to type a specific way is critical, as long as you learn how to type in general. So find a way that works best for you, and if you want to work on it, then you can learn from what other people are doing and kind of replicate that. So have an advocate. I would like to advocate for Jesus. He is a great advocate. Having him as an advocate, though, does mean surrendering your life to him and not necessarily allowing yourself to be the Lord of your own life, but allowing him to be the Lord of your life. So it's not like oh yes, I just get to enter into this and he just gives me everything that I want. No, that's not even how a relationship works. So, but at the same time, if you're looking for someone who is the most compassionate person I know, who loves with all of his heart, is patient, and will definitely push you to grow, let me introduce you to Jesus. Because he is my best friend, legitimately. But after that, another thing that I have learned that has really helped me when it comes to dealing with perfectionism is the realization and the internalization of the fact that we are 3-part beings, and this cannot be stated enough. You are not just a body with a brain. You also have a spirit. And science does not yet capture this, because science so far, a lot of people within the scientific community has tried to bring everything through the lens of materialism. You know, if you can see it, test it, smell it, whatever, feel it, hear it, then it exists. If you can't, it's not there. Like, we have, bodies, 3 parts. And it's not unheard of in the scientific community, because if you go into psychology, you have literally, and it's by, who's it by? It's not by Freud. It's by, was it by Freud? It is Freud. Okay. Who coined the id, ego, and superego. 3-part beings. Right here. You have your id, which is your instincts, your ego, which is the in-between, and your superego is your best self, the part of you that knows what's right and strives for what's right in all things. Id, ego, superego, not something that's unheard of, not some foreign concept. Psychology is fringe. Science can define how the world was created, while religion can define why the world was created. Yes, I guess in some ways, yes. But I really don't think, honestly, that science and the Bible are that far removed. I feel like we'll figure that out more and more as more people look into the foundation of the universe. With open and honest eyes. But I think they're more married than is what is led on to believe. But religion definitely does help see things from a heart perspective rather than just a mind perspective, which is, again, one part of the big thing. There's other parts. So grasp the concept that you are not just an individual, like, one-sided being. You have 3 parts to yourself. One of the things that has been really hitting me recently is the fact that we are made up of... Excuse me. We are made up of trillions of cells. Like, there are skin cells, hair cells, heart cells, brain cells, blood cells, immunity cells, lung cells, whatever, bone cells. We are made of trillions of cells. Every one of them alive. Well, some of them are dead, but most of them are pretty much alive, and they have needs. They need to have energy, nutrients provided to them. We as a human being are piloting this amazing, multifaceted body and eating things to bring it nutrients, breathing to bring it oxygen. We are exhaling to remove the carbon dioxide that's produced within our bodies. We are exercising to increase the amount of the cells in certain ways. Dieting to give it more proper nutrition. Learning to stimulate them. All kinds of stuff. We're in biological mech suit, but the irony, the irony is that despite the fact that I am comprised of trillions of cells, I can still starve myself. I can still do things that are very counterproductive for these trillion. They don't assert and then they're all their collective wills against me and get to control me completely. But they do constantly send signals to different parts of the body as it works together to keep me alive. And it's amazing. And so if you ever wonder, and it just kind of hit me, if you ever wonder why the hell do I keep doing things that make no logical sense, you know, why do I look at porn when I know that's not good for me? Why do I eat sugary foods when I know that's not healthy for me? Why do I refuse to work out? Why do I, whatever? Well, you have trillions of living organisms, all with needs, moving and coursing through your body, making up your body. Yes, you can yeet yourself off a cliff. Yes, you could do that. Don't do that, please. But you could do that. So, despite the fact that you have all these organisms operating in your body, you syndicated back and forth between my brain cells and the rest of me. Oh, gosh. Oh, is this everyone having that issue? Oh, dear. Let me take a look here. I'm going to pull up the stream. Stream health. How are we looking? Warning, the stream content bitrate is at this certain bitrate. Is lower than recommended bitrate. We use stream bitrate 4,000. Oh, it actually wants me to do a higher bitrate. It was originally screaming at me saying I was doing too much, so la-di-da-da. I'm glad it's back. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. What was the last thing that I said before I broke? Go that way. Oh, gosh, that's no good. We're gonna sit there, though, for a second. Sit there and think about our lives. Oh, promotion. That's gonna be useful. If they don't die, that's gonna be very useful. They might die, though. Oh, they're still alive. Okay. I need that, and I need that now. Combat strength versus melee ranged units. Combat strength when defending against ranged attacks. Let's give him that. And attack them afterwards. Something about adultery. Was I talking in that moment about how... So we were comprised of trillions of cells, all of which are asserting, like, they have their needs, what they need, what they want, and all that kind of stuff, and there's a communication going on between the different cells in your body, and sometimes you'll go and do things that you shouldn't do, that you know you shouldn't do, like looking at porn, eating unhealthy food, not exercising, stuff like that. Was that the last thing that I said? Pretty much. Okay. I don't know why I'm the smart child right now, but the guy that's also known as the quiet kid. I don't know why I'm the smart child right now. I'm the guy who is also known as the quiet kid. I mean, quiet can also be, you know, quiet because you're perceptive and you're paying attention to certain details other people might miss, as a theory. So yeah, so what I was sharing was my revelation about the fact that we are, again, a body comprised of trillions of cells, all of which have needs to survive. They need energy, they need oxygen, they need nutrients. So if you do things that you should be doing, remember that you have a literal body that, although you can control what it does or does not do, it still has needs. And so sometimes if you feel a huge need to do something that is not good for you, it is because it's trying to fill its needs and it doesn't really think what's best for it. It just thinks, how can I take care of myself immediately so I don't feel this negative thing that I'm feeling? That's what I was saying. So I feel like that's part of where that comes from. Like, when you realize the scope of your own body, that, again, you are comprised of trillions of cells, it kind of brings into perspective where this ghost force that makes you do things you know you shouldn't do could in part be coming from. And I don't know, that just hit me this week. I was like, wow. How? Like, I have one primary will, and that drives me, yet I enact my will upon a multi-organism being, structure, whatever you would like to call it. It's been hitting me lately. We are very strange things. Yes, we are. And that's just strange. Really, has any of you ever stopped to think that while you can think of yourself as an individual being, you are actually a being comprised of trillions upon trillions of cells? Because I never have any of you guys ever thought to think about that? Like, who has thought about this? Because I am not one of them all the time. Okay, cool. Then I am just now joining the bandwagon, because I've not really philosophically stopped to think about that. And I can't wrap my mind around it. We have the strongest natural power for defense, yet the worst weakness ever. It's just like, it's mind-boggling to me that this whole time, 31 years of my life, trillions of cells are born and die, and they are all independent, but they're all working together so that I have one cohesive body that doesn't meld in with other things, that allows me to go from point A to point B. And it's just happening. Like, imagine, if you will, just like the logistics of this, of like, they don't know where they're going. They don't know why they're going where they're going. They just are there for the ride. Like, I am one being, and yet I am a being of trillions. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I am one, but I am also a trillion. All of these different cells make up me, but they're not me at the same time. Like, they're not... I have a will over them. Like, my body can't just hijack me entirely and I just do anything it wants me to do. So, it's not... I am not necessarily my body, although I am definitely integrated with my body. My body sends up petitions to me, and then I decide whether I want to do that or not, and sometimes these petitions are so hard, I can't resist. But I am responsible for the care of trillions of organisms every day of my life. That can be stabbed, that can be burned, that can be starved, that can be... Like, it's crazy to think I can be hungry and still not eat if I was really determined. Like, I could starve myself if I wanted to. So, we're not our bodies, but we have a body, and the body has needs. And so if you find yourself making decisions that are dumb, that are not smart, or whatever, consider it's okay, you have a whole body to account for that has needs you have to take care of. And it's not always going to want the best thing for it to survive. It wants because a lot of cells just need sugar, of course it's going to want sugar, because that's the fastest way for it to feel like it's thriving. So, that's something to keep in mind. And then, a little less tangible is the soul. So you got the spirit, I believe we are a spirit. Like, we supersede this reality. Who we are lives on with or without a body. But then we have a soul, which is the intermediary, comprised of all those neurons, that sits between all the cells that have their needs and go about their daily lives, multiplying and eating things. Yeah. So you have all the biological components of the neurons and everything, and I guess maybe they're comprised of your soul. Because when you have things like Alzheimer's or dementia and you start to lose your brain cells, you begin to lose your ability to form words, remember things, all that kind of stuff. So you have the soul, which is kind of melded with the body, but it's still not necessarily you. It's mostly you, but not entirely you. And it's confused because it has to deal with the needs of trillions of cells always. Like, they're hungry, they need something, and these cells, they don't really have a filter, I don't think, of a way to describe it. They're like, oh, I'm hungry, so therefore I need to send up this, thoughtful petition to the brain to get me food. And, it's like, I'm dying, bring me food now. And some of them might actually die. I don't know how many cells are dying on a regular basis, but probably a lot. So, you've got the soul, and it's in between that and your spirit. And because your soul is linked into this world, you have to convince it of what's right. It's not going to just naturally accept anything that you believe as right. You're going to have to go through a proving process to yourself. You can do a thing, or shouldn't do a thing, or could, whatever. Because in between, and you got to imagine if your super ego or your spirit is the best part of yourself, the true part of yourself, it's probably you're going to be less aggressive than your body is towards the soul. So it has to weigh, okay, do I take care of these trillions of screaming, ungrateful, constantly needy cells, or do I make this random moral decision that's not going to necessarily positively impact the cells here and now, but maybe is good for me, ? And there's a whole process of convincing yourself of what is right and what is good and pure. So it's very important that if you're trying to work yourself away from perfectionism, understand that there is a part of convincing that you have to go through to your own self of what is good and pure and well. Because the things that are best for you are generally farther off than the immediate. And wow. And when you think about it, the cells in your body probably has a very short lifespan before they die and get replicated. Dead skin cells, some of them probably last longer than others. Man, this is kind of hitting me. I don't know if I'm just kind of like talking over you guys' heads, so if I am, please let me know, and I'll try to pull back a little bit and like explain things, but this is just kind of hitting me. I'm growing in compassion in this moment to my own self, and I'm loving it. Ever thought that the water that you drink on your deathbed can be small babies for the first sip of water? For small babies first. I'm not quite sure where we're going with that one, Gaming Warrior. Yes, everything in these worlds has all these attributes. Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't know if rocks are comprised of cells. They have atoms. Is silicate a cell? Does gold have cells? I don't know if they have cells. I don't know if you can say everything in this world has attributes. Matter cannot be destroyed, and all water is recycled. Oh, I see. I think I see what you're saying. Okay. Water's recycled. Got it. Okay. But all physical things have cells. But no, does things like rocks have cells, though? Like, actual, like, composed of a cell? Because I don't know. They're not living. They're made of silicate. I know they're made of atoms. And maybe some complex atoms, too, with that. But I don't know if it's made of cells, though. Yeah, they're inorganic, so they wouldn't have cells. So they're not affected in the same way that we are affected. Living things, okay. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. You're saying everything as if, like, everything, the sun, the rocks, the planet, the water has cells. I'm like, yes, everything has atoms. That's accurate. Yes, everything has atoms. I don't know if you would consider the atoms to be a cell, but... And we're made of minerals, too. And that's also accurate, yes. So, yeah. So you got some recursiveness in there. But what is the things that I'm saying... Are they hitting you guys in any shape, way, or form? Am I missing the mark here? Because I'm getting excited and kind of realizing some things that I don't know. Are we on, like, a similar page here? Ooh. I'll move that way. That might be a good direction. Put me close to a volcano. That'd be good. And with the job of atoms. What is the job of cell? Tell me. And what is the job of atoms? Well, a cell is comprised of more than just a few atoms. Like, they are an actual organism that is comprised of different types of atoms that is able to reproduce and consume, whereas an atom doesn't necessarily. It's more singular. And I think there might be also, you can go in depth and you can say there are quarks within atoms, though. But in atoms, all of them are the building blocks of materials. So you put a bunch of certain types of atoms, you get like a gold bar, or, you know, you get oxygen or something. So, yeah. But no. Question. Are we tracking so far? Am I gone too far off on anything? How are we doing here? Like, I'm looking for feedback here. I'm gonna take a second while I'm waiting for that to build. Why there? That's literally on a desert. Although it has stuff around it. Maybe it could work. Or we could go over there. Move. I haven't been listening for the past 3... Great. Rip. Move that way. Oh, lovely. I'm attack. Ooh, very close to death. Almost done. Okay. Sweet. And then just a happy face. Okay. Don't kill my warrior. That's practically almost killing my warrior. They're probably going to die. And you are not going to take them. So I am going to say skip that turn. I'm going to stay there. Okay, and you are going to move that way because I need to make sure that that doesn't turn into more death for me. Probably need another warrior here in a moment because they're about to die. And you'll keep moving. Okay. So anyways. Oh, hello. And there he goes. Smart. Unless you're wanting to be deeper in a hole, I guess. Animal husbandry, currency, bronze, sailing, plantations. What plantations? Pantheon time. Let's see. Production for fishing boats could be useful. Pastures could be useful too, because I've got a pasture here and a pasture there. Let's go open sky route. I don't think I have anything there. Yeah, so that's not useful right now. I'll do it later. Cool. And then we'll go the route of early empire. It's a bit of a long haul. Why not? We'll go that route for now. It's long haul, but it'll be fine. And we can start making friends with Brussels. Okay. And you can move that way. Okay. So keep attacking me over the river, which is dumb for them and useful for me. Movement on rainforest terrain. Yes, there we go. You will do nothing. Can I hit them from afar? I cannot. But we can move closer to them. Okay, so when dealing with perfectionism, advocation is really important. Recognizing that you are not just one being, but a three-part being. You are one, but you're comprised of different components. I think that's really important. Recognizing that you've got a soul that needs to be convinced of the truth and what is good and what you're capable of, and you have a body that has a bunch of needs that needs to be attended to. I think that really helps when growing in compassion for yourself and patience with yourself, to know that things are not just going to happen like that. I think it's a really good way to deal with perfectionism, because when you know that you've got a whole bunch of growth you have to work through, a lot of different moving parts to work through, it becomes easier to be patient with yourself in the growth process. Patience is really important when you're dealing with perfectionism, because I think trying to rush through the growth process is a killer when it comes to growth, and not being so perfectionistic. And so the last thing the last area that I've learned that's really helped me a lot when it comes to dealing with perfectionism, is in this space of allowing myself to fail without lowering my standards. Because I've heard there's a lot of different ways that people have dealt with perfectionism, one of which has been lowering standards. And there might be some places for that if your standards are toxic and unhealthy for you, but there's a lot of areas that I've encountered where dropping my standards, and that is not a good thing, and doesn't help me hit the standard. It just actually makes it less likely for me to hit the standard. But it's been really important for me to find a balance between I'm imperfect and I'm going to fail, so I do not need to expect myself to always hit the mark, but at the same time not giving up and saying, well, I guess I'm going to allow myself to do this thing that's not healthy for me because I'm just never going to do it perfectly. So, then it turns into one of those matters of you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I think it's important to know that there are two ditches. And I think it's really interesting because I think there's a lot of things in life that I think we encounter where there's just, the Bible talks about like the way, what was it? The way to heaven, the way to the Father is this narrow path. Let me make sure I'm getting that correctly. Narrow is the path. Narrow is the gate. Let's see. I want to make sure that I'm quoting this correctly. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow is the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. I think it's interesting when the Bible talks about entering through the narrow gate and uses the analogy and the metaphor of narrow is the gate. And this kind of really hits me because when something is narrow, there is usually two ditches to it. You've got you're going down like a straight path. You got one ditch over here, you got one ditch over here, or one wall over here, or one wall over there. It's just, any way you look at it. Yeah, think smart. Yeah, what does that mean? Right. And I think that's a good way to look at it. It's like, in life, there's multiple ways something can go wrong, which is why the gate is narrow. Like, if you're trying to work through perfectionism and you lower your standards to something lower, that's a ditch. Because then you're going to accomplish less and less and less and less, because your standards are less and less and less and less. You lose productivity when you do that. At the same time, when you hold yourself to a very high standard and don't give yourself space to fail, that's its own ditch. Because then you feel worse and worse and worse and worse about yourself every time you fail. You just confirm a bias against yourself that you are terrible and you're never going to achieve what you're trying to strive for. And so I think there's a lot of things, there's two ditches or more, but usually two ditches that you can easily fall into, making the way towards life a narrow road. But you still have to balance it to live a good life. So when you do make mistakes, you're able to forgive yourself and be patient with yourself, but you're getting back up again and you're still shooting that same high shot. And so I think, like, in all of this, like, yeah, it's good to have very high standards, perfectionistic standards. I don't think striving for less than perfect is a bad thing. But not at the expense of grace and mercy upon yourself when you don't achieve that. Because I feel like everyone wants heaven. Everyone wants utopia. Everyone wants that life free of suffering and pain and misery. We're longing for a time where they can go through life and be assured that they're going to live through it and it's going to be okay and they can continue to grow. But that is a very, very high standard that it's really easy to mess up. And the way there, I think, is through... Awesome. I think is through grace and truth. It's through that balance between I'm going to forgive myself for failing, and at the same time I'm not going to shy away from doing the absolute best I possibly can. We are all collectively glad that you have finished. Well, congratulations on finishing. Trying to explore around and see what else is around here before I just settle. I think I'm probably settle like right about there. Yeah, I know. We're an hour behind, which is strange. I never really realized it was the part connected to the North America that's an hour ahead of Eastern time. What is provincial assessments? Those are words I never heard before. Canadian nonsense? Oh, okay. Interesting. Big test that doesn't affect my grade, but basically it's for school statistics. We'll get well soon, chap. But basically big test. Okay, interesting. Split up into 4 days. Interesting. Canadian nonsense. Wow. Let's put that over here. Yes. Was I wrong? Nope. Uh-oh. Come back. Don't leave them there. I don't need to lose them. There we go. There. And I can't attack them. That's dumb. Dumb! That looks like a really good place to put down roots. In fact, yeah. So, do you guys have any questions, thoughts, agreements, disagreements to anything that I've said out of curiosity? Because I've talked a lot. So, what we talked about, I talked about, I think in the time that you were not paying attention, I talked about two ways, other ways that I've learned to work with myself when I'm being perfectionistic. Yes, I'll repeat not everything, but a good portion of it for you. One was recognizing that we are not just a singular being, but we are three-part beings. That we that we are a spirit that has a body and has a soul. And I was talking about how I was realizing last week that we are a being comprised of trillions of cells. That all of these cells have needs, energy, oxygen, water, nutrients to survive. And they speak those needs to our brain, and our brain alerts us like, hey, we need to feed, we need to eat something, we need to do something in order to take care of whatever these needs may be. And so, like, despite the fact that we are one being, we are comprised of trillions of beings that are constantly at work, making our body what it is, allowing us to exist within this world in some way. And I was just talking about how that was, like, super fascinating to me, that I am one of trillions, but I am still one. And how, like, I was kind of like thinking about like how, it makes sense when there's moments where like I have impulses for things that are not necessarily great for me, and it's just coming out of the fact that like I'm comprised of trillions of little organisms, effectively, and they have probably shorter lifespans than me as a whole, so they're trying to get whatever need they have met as fast as they possibly can. And on top of that, I also have a soul comprised of a bunch of neurons. And it kind of melds between me, the real me, the spiritual me, and my physical body, because it's partially made of physical material. So, like, it has to decide between my body, which is loud and is constantly sending up signals of what it needs, and then my spirit, which is usually probably going to be quieter and more understanding and align with who God is, and decide what is more important in that moment. So I need to be patient with myself, because my mind needs to be convinced of what it's capable of what's right, what's wrong, because my spirit understands that, like, if I steal something, that's going to result in me being punished for that. My body doesn't understand that concept. It just understands that it's hungry and needs something here and now, and so it needs to steal something in order to satiate that, or understimulate it, or whatever. And my soul, my brain, needs to be convinced that not stealing something is probably the right way to go, because the punishment for doing something wrong is worse than the trade-off of just waiting a little bit longer until I can get what I need. So being patient and recognizing that I am essentially piloting a mass of trillions of cells to do a thing, with a soul that needs to be convinced of a thing, can give me a lot more patience with myself when I don't do what I know I should be doing. What are you saying for, Gaming Warrior? Oh, hello. Oh, it's Egypt. Nice to meet you, Cleopatra. Where is Egypt? Way up there. And apparently, I'm getting a lot of loyalty penalties if I go much further, so this might literally be where I should set up shop. So I'm going to set up shop here. And I'm going to start building... Why is it asking me to build things there? Oh. I see. I was plugging in my Chromebook. Could you repeat your repetition? Are you serious, Zap? Are you for real? Unfortunately, you are. Oh my god. Oh. Cut my life into pieces. Okay. You're gonna have to give me a second to get to a place where I can repeat all those things because, my god. The plug was in a weird spot. Okay, well, sorry. Essentially, Zap, what I said... What I said... What in earth? Oh. Gentle eruption. Oh, how nice. What I had mentioned, Zap, was that I was recognizing that we... one of the things I recognize is that we are too... Oh, no. Is anyone else having internet issues, or is it just Gaming Warrior? I need to know now. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So, what I was recognizing is that we are three-part beings. Body, soul, and spirit. We are a spirit, we have a body, we have a mind. Our body is comprised of trillions of cells. And I was sitting and thinking about how amazing it is that we are just comprised of trillions of cells. If I was using a PC, would be even better if I was using a PC right now. Zap, I swear, are you settled in yet, or do I need to wait before I explain this yet another time? Okay, cool. Also, what is happening here? Looks like a bad time is about to happen. Okay, cool. Okay. Cool. I better need to send my warrior that way because that looks like a bad time about to happen. So anyways, we are comprised of trillions of cells. All of them have needs. They need air, they need oxygen, they need water, nutrients, energy. Like, they have needs. When you're trying to deal with perfectionism, it's good to recognize that you have a body that you are piloting trillions of cells, all of which have needs, and they have shorter lifespans than you as a whole. ASMR for all of us. But anyways, they all have needs, for the soul. And at the same time, you have your soul, which is your mind, which is comprised of a bunch of neurons, and it sits in this interesting space between, like, it's a physical thing, but at the same time, it's also not, because it has thoughts, it has memories, it has all this kind of stuff going on. When your brain begins to rot, you lose the memory, so it's partially physical, but it sits between that and the you, your real self, your spiritual self, which has, it knows what's right and wrong. It desires greater things, and it's what needs to be redeemed and reborn, as we know in the Bible. So it needs convincing. Like, your spiritual self is probably gentler to the soul than the body itself is, with all the trillions of cells, and so it has to decide, well, why shouldn't I steal something? Why shouldn't I murder? Why shouldn't I be lustful over somebody? You know, why shouldn't I do those things? Because if I don't do those things, the body itself is screaming at me for all its needs need to be met, while the spirit is not doing that. It doesn't really have you don't naturally are born with the capacity to just immediately, like, decide perfectly, like, this is right and this is wrong. You have all that within you, but it takes time for your soul to be convinced of what's right and wrong. Why should I not give myself the luxury of eating a donut right now why am I instead eating an apple or eating something like broccoli or whatever? I don't know. Why am I choosing this over that? Like, the body doesn't know that at all, and the soul has to be convinced. So when you're trying to move in the direction of the perfect, and you're dealing with perfectionism, giving yourself grace, because you're literally leading a multifaceted you into doing the right thing, like, it's okay to make mistakes in that case. It makes more sense why you're so hard to do the right thing. So, you've got convincing to do. You've got a whole body you're leading, effectively. Please don't attack them. Oh, they're attacking them. Oh, and they're dead. How very annoying. You, attack them. That's very underwhelming. Okay. Zap! No. No, I can't. I have reached my limit of repeating things. Deal with it. You're just gonna have to get better at not doing things at the wrong time. Unsubscribe. Oh no. So yeah. So recognize that life is not simple because you are multifaceted. Like, you're not just a one-sided being. You have multiple things working within you that make up who you are. You're commanding trillions of cells every day. Like, the cells can't fully assert their will over you you can starve yourself if you wanted to. You can do things that would harm the body if you really wanted to. So you are not your body. Like, your body is a part of you, but you're more than your body, and you're more than your soul, because your soul can be lost. Your soul can deteriorate, but your spirit is eternal. And this is just really hitting me. Like, some of this stuff I'm gaining as I'm telling you about it. So I'm like, it's just like, wow, my mind is like connecting all these things that I've known of, but never actually put together in a puzzle. Of a Muppet. I don't know. Rip. So I said that, and then the last thing that I had come to realize that it helped me a lot when it comes to dealing with perfectionism, was that you have to learn the balance between allowing yourself to fail, but while also not lowering your standards. Because if you never allow yourself to fail, you're going to harm yourself. Plain and simple, you have to fail. You have to allow yourself to fail. Because you're just not going to do things perfectly. And recognizing that, giving yourself the space to be imperfect helps a lot. But at the same time, you should not drop your standards to nothing. What else is going on here? Good Lord Almighty. I'm gonna see if I can take over that so they can't just easily come back. And I'm gonna move them away, because I don't need to deal with that garbage, and you need to attack them, because they need to stop being on my property. Get off my property. Okay. They're gonna move. They're gonna move back.
We now have the opportunity to appoint a governor to our civilization. This governor will be a powerful and productive asset when assigned.
Cool, thank you. Okay, cool. Oh my god. Sorry, but no. No, I cannot. There is nothing that I can repeat right now.
Look back over the past, with its changing empires that rose and fell. And you can foresee the future too.
Ooh. Okay. I burned my house down for nothing. Oh gosh. Let's see. Might as well do craftsmanship. Get an upgrade here. You attack them, because they probably should be defeated. Yep, there we go. No more barbarian encampment. And apparently I just got like a whole bunch. I just immediately shot into a golden age. That's nice. Turning on the Wi-Fi. What did I miss? Nothing. At this moment, nothing. So yeah, so the balance between allowing yourself to fail but not lowering your standards, because it's the Bible talks about narrow. I want to make sure I'm reading this exactly. The Bible says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." I think the reason why the Bible says that is because in life there's always going to be a balance that you need. Like, you need to give yourself the space to make mistakes, but you also should not be just dropping your standards either. There are two ditches to be dealing with. When you're talking about going through a narrow path, there's very narrow corridor. Either there's two walls on one end or the other, or there's two ditches if you're kind of like walking down a path and you're going up a mountain. Because oftentimes that scripture verse is like viewed as you're going up a path somewhere. And usually there's two ditches on the side of that. So one ditch is, well, I hate myself because I always make mistakes, and I'm just going to be very hard on myself and beat myself up for every mistake I ever make and never be kind to myself. That's its own ditch that's going to result in a lot of issues for yourself. On the other end, there's also the ditch of, I am just going to have no standards for myself, and whatever goes, goes. That's another ditch that's going to result in pain and suffering on your part. So that was the last of the three revelations that I've had that have kind of helped me when it comes to dealing with perfectionism. Give yourself grace and mercy when you make mistakes. Recognize that you are piloting a complex and amazing body with its own needs and things that need to be taken care of, and a soul. But at the same time, make sure that you don't lower your standards just because you know you're going to miss the mark. Like, I don't think perfection as a goal is a bad thing, because I think we all crave heaven. We all want heaven on earth. But at the same time, heaven is a very high goal to reach, and no one's going to really fully reach it here on earth. So I think having that goal is what gives us life and something to strive towards. But we need to do so in light of also recognizing that we are an imperfect being and are going to make mistakes and can forgive ourselves for those mistakes. So I got it. Going up is good and down is bad, and a ditch in both ideas, and to just go sideways and parallel perfection. Just narrow path. So that's all I got. That's all I wrote.
Then when I die, I want to go where they went.
Rise above. Yes, essentially. Stand on top of the walls. Have them heal, and you go there and keep track of those guys. God, sidewalk. Narrow, all I know, narrow is the path. And there are a lot of ditches you can fall into with that. Or just dig underneath the ditch. Adding all these different ways. Why is the path that leads to destruction? Like a trench. Get out of here. Let's see. I would like to have... Yeah, let's have our first trader. So we deal with these barbarians. Okay. Explode the walls, and then everything is a wide path, and just go down the middle one. Or it worked with World War One. Why not work with World War II, right? Prish. Win-win. Wow. But yeah, do you guys have any questions, thoughts, disagreements, whatever, to what I'll just said? What? Not at all. Cool. Sweet. Ugh. The amount of barbarians that I've been dealing with is atrocious. Well, then you can go to bed at a good time. I have been able to do absolutely... But thought rate is more important. Wow. You have ever faced perfectionist? Have I ever faced a perfectionist? No. What do you mean by faced a perfectionist? Like, known them? Talked to them? But not today. Let's see, what do I want to do? Yeah, let's do that. To compete against them about something. I mean, I don't think I've ever really, like, butted up against one in, like, a competition sort of way, necessarily, no. Oh, I should have probably have used my warriors first. They're going to die. No, they're not! Wow. The rulers of Brussels bow to Persia and become their first... Oh, well, that's nice.
May the forces of evil become confused while your arrow is on its way to the target.
How about this as a question? Do you still struggle with perfectionism, or have you overcome it in your eyes? I definitely think I've come to a new stride when it comes to it. I don't know if I will ever completely be free from it. I might. I don't know if I will, though. But I've definitely hit a new space where it would be a lot harder for it to have a grip on my life. with those revelations that I just shared with you guys, that's helped me a lot. Kind of calm down, feel better about my life, you know, not worry about reduce my anxiety and stress levels by a whole bunch. I would consider myself to be a perfectionist when it comes to morals and how I live my life that way. I don't really consider myself to be a perfectionist in every area, though. So I would say it's definitely like situational. Boring. Wow. Okay. Let's do sailing now. And let's build... Let's do a builder. No, yes. Yes, let's do a builder. With that said, yeah. He has morals, boo. Wow. Yeah, we can end here. I think I've covered it. You need to head to bed. I've got nothing else on my mind. It's a Monday, so that, to be fair, a lot of Mondays seem to end a little bit sooner than other days do. So yeah, I think this would be a good spot to end. And I think I might play some more Civilization tonight. I might do that some more because I'm having fun with this. I love Civ. So yeah. Can I pull this over here? I can. Good. Unless you guys have any other questions or anything else. Like, if you have anything else that you want me to, like, talk to, whatever, I'll do that. But if not, I'll definitely end it here. Chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect. Oh, no. Okay, click reconnect. Good. Okay, cool. Not the worst Monday. Well, I'm glad. Alright, well then, I guess we'll just end it here, because a lot of you guys are peacing out. So, I want to thank you guys for watching. It has been a lot of fun. If you've enjoyed the stream, and it's meant a lot to you, I do want to remind you, it is our goal with thoughtraid to get to a place where we can focus entirely on this and not have to work other jobs. So if you feel inclined to, if it's really benefited you, I would like to encourage you to donate to help us out financially. We have a Patreon, and we also have a PayPal so that people can donate to us, and that would be very helpful in allowing us to do even more in supporting you guys and being there for you. All money that is donated to thoughtraid goes into increasing the quality of our streams and providing more content, and it also goes back out into the community, as we like to hold a certain amount of percentage to give back to others as our tithe. So if you'd like to support us, it is for a good cause, and it would help us out greatly. Things like this microphone, I believe, my little stream deck that I use over here in the corner, that you can't see, are all different things that have been bought with the money that has been provided to us, so we can continue to improve the stream. So I want to thank you guys for the support that you have given over the years, but it means a lot. And when you do donate, there are perks for donating too, that is listed within our Patreon. And we are working towards coming out with new designs. We're eventually going to have a whole shirt for thoughtraid too, which will be a part of all that. But all that is in the description below if you're on YouTube. And if you're in Twitch, there is a panel for that as well. So in the description below is with links if you'd like to support us financially. But we would love to invite you to do that. And I don't know why there's an emoji that looks like that, but it's very fascinating. Pretty sure the Twitch was titled, yeah. Oh, the Twitch one's been called that? Oh, that's dumb. I don't know why sometimes it doesn't get that correct, but whatever. But anyways, all that said, If you don't want to do that, I still want to invite you to our Discord group because we have that. And we love to have you be a part of our group because we're doing things not just on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays. It's also on other days in Twitch or Discord. So the link to that is also in the description. But with all of that said, we broadcast every week on Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be live again this Friday with some more gaming. You don't want to miss it. I'm excited. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Love you guys.
I can see far away from where I've been. He says I see a potential. I see a potential in my eyes. I see a potential. I never lost sight of the reason why you're alive. You're alive. You're alive. We sing Jesus. You're